Bowlby, Superintendent Sawyer, Jason Parento, Laurie Regan, Jackie Romanicki, Jerry, Jay, Kate Campbell is out there, Rob Geddes, Jeremy Kay, and Andrew. Did I miss anybody?
Peter Gagnon.
Me.
Peter. Oh, forgive me, Peter. Oh, that's on me. Thank you, Peter. All right, awesome. All right, so I called the meeting to order at 5:30. Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's approve the meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 24th.
So moved.
Second?
Comments, questions, concerns about the minutes? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. All right, now what we've all been waiting for.
All right. So in the past month, we've done a little bit of exterior work, including a fence around the irrigation skid on the south side of the L building, as well as we started the prep work for the urban planting farm, or freight farm, as we sometimes refer to it, which is on this side of the locker room building. That work will continue into the next month and a half. Inside the building, we started work in the metal fab, carpentry, and automotive shops to put dehumidification units in. This was a change order because there was some rusting last summer, so these units will help mitigate that. Thank you to Jeremy and his team. We've been working during the school days, which has been a cool experience, I guess, for everyone. And it's been going really well. As far as some punch list items inside and on the exterior of the building, we've been doing a lot of fence punch list items in the past couple of days with United Fence. And then we have some lingering interior paint punch list items that we are handling over April break. Speaking of April break, we have a lot of work lined up, including digging out the inner bus loop and reseeding that whole section, as well as getting some sod acceptance, kind of the remaining bit of field work that we've been waiting for warmer weather for.
Is that part of the storm drainage system, the interior of the bus loop?
It's not part of the drainage system. So this whole section is just going to be dug out, regraded a little bit, and we're putting a wetland seed instead. So it'll hopefully hold better and actually grow grass in there, because it is a little bit wetter than the rest of the fields.
It's intended to drain the bus loop and retain water for the bus loop and then infiltrate into
So it
the...
is part of the city's stormwater management requirements.
Correct.
And then in the next few weeks, we will be doing the final project as-built, which include the Highland lot, which will be kind of the biggest wrap-up part of the project. And yeah, as far as closeout goes, we've been working with Jason and his team on any remaining O&Ms, or any warranty issues that have been popping up. That's about it. Not too much going on right now, waiting for some sun.
Can you tell everybody the update on the solar array in the parking lot there, please? Just for the
Sure.
record.
Yeah, so we received a response from National Grid last week, looking for some more information. They're conducting their study on the system. So we are still pushing to turn on the PVs to be able to commission them, just to test them, so we can finish up our lead submission for the project. This won't be the permanent turn on. We just need to test it for now. But that's kind of where we are right now. We're still working through the study with National Grid.
And what's the roof leak update?
So as far as the roof goes, 2 of the remaining leaks we had, the gym and the cafeteria, we haven't seen those pop back up since the last time Greenwood has been out on site. But we're still keeping an eye on them and just make sure that they don't reoccur. And as of this morning, we did get a new leak that we're not classifying as a roof leak yet. It's on the 4th floor, but we did find some water in the air handling unit above that space. So Arden was out today to look at that. Once that kind of dries up from the rain and tomorrow or Friday, they're going to be re-caulking some seams that they thought, could use some additional caulking. But we are having Greenwood here on Friday tentatively, just to take a look to see if they find anything on their end. But we do think it's most likely due to the air handling unit because there's some standing water in there.
All right, so if you get to a conclusive determination, would you just let us know that, so we,
Absolutely. We'll communicate with the team.
anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns about the update status?
I know it's not consiglies, but I'll direct this to the superintendent, perhaps. The student attendance system has still not been up and running. We were told this morning that now they're thinking it may be changes in software at our end rather than the other end. Do you have any kind of an update on that, or whether Kate knows?
I have not received any.
So I don't think that this morning's comment was new. We've had ongoing conversations on both our Wednesday mornings as well as here about the disconnect between the equipment as well as the software. So I feel that there's still, as Craig said, it's still in discussion between the two software ends.
He
But I
told
don't
me.
believe it's all on internally at
Yeah,
this point.
Craig said before I left that it's still in the progress stage with the programmers to get the two things to talk. So it's,
One good bit of news we heard, though, this morning was that all of the battery packs that we got so that those iPads did not have to be plugged in were provided to us free by the manufacturer, and Craig said he browbeat them until they agreed to it. So at least that did not cost us anything to make that change. One other thing, well, if I can. Chairman of the school committee, we have, I know I've reminded you of this before, but we have some fundraising opportunities. One is that area in the middle of the bus loop that you can see there, the walls are able to be inscribed with messages or, in memory of mom or whatever you want to put. So that is a fundraising opportunity we built in. Don't know if anybody has done anything with that. The other fundraising opportunity we built in was signage on the scoreboards, and we got permission from the Zoning Board of Appeals to sell signage on the scoreboards for the various athletic events, similar to what the football stadium has. So whatever the process is to do that, we just didn't want that to slip through the cracks, that we did have the opportunity to raise some money.
Absolutely, and I'll work with the administration to find the best way to identify where to direct that money and what organizations to include in that.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
I noticed that, looks like the fields are starting to come in pretty well, the seed, and there's quite a few geese that are out there. Is there any plan to do anything about the geese, or how does that, the geese eating the grass and then doing what geese do after the fact, how does that work into the warranty and the establishment of the?
Yeah, so we've been noticing the geese more on the baseball field, but so the sod is still not accepted by the school yet. So if there is any damage by the geese, we would still be responsible for any repairs necessary to the sod. And that's part of the final lawn acceptance, sod acceptance that we'll be doing once the sod comes back to life in the spring. But other than that, we have brought it up in the OAC meetings that I think some of the other fields in the Attleboro area have used the geese police in the past, if that's something that the school would be interested in looking into for future maintenance. But as of right now, we're kind of going on our landscaper's advice that he's going to see if there's any damage, and if there needs to be any rework, he will be doing that in the spring.
Kate has a dog.
hungry.
I do. But Jason and I did speak earlier this week about, if it does become an issue, some strategies that other places have used, cutouts and things like that. But we also know geese are going to come to fields. We can.
They migrate.
You'll chase them over to Capron Park. Capron Park will chase them back to you.
That sounds like a plan.
Very good. Anybody else? So contingency transfers,
Yeah, there's 3 listed. We'd like to add a 4th if we could. I'll go through them quickly. GCT 087 is asphalt escalation. We did this throughout the project. It's impossible to speculate and pick what asphalt cost is going to be, so we always buy it out at cost, knowing that there's a T&M process. With the asphalt, the liquid asphalt, it's hard to predict. So this is the last bit of asphalt escalation that we paid for all the work that we did during the summer, in the fall. So this is the last one on the project. It's $85,635. Next is GCT 089, which is revisions to the desk over at central office. That is $14,939.90. GCT 90 is the fencing at the irrigation skid that Ally spoke about earlier, $43,359.03. And then last, GCT 091 is the urban framing pad and utilities only at this point for $176,516.67. So it's a total of $320,450.60 coming out of contingency. Again, does not increase the GMP, it's just transferring from contingency.
So the only comment I would have is the desk revisions at central office include just the work that's going to be done by the carpenters, I believe. And then
Yes.
there will be an additional cost added for the actual furniture that's going to go in there, which I believe is a desk and a return. There's 2 of them. And we're waiting for pricing from that, from Casey.
We've still got money to pay for these, Anjanette?
Yes, that will also come out of contingency.
these were anticipated expenses, all right? None of these are surprises? Did they come late? What am I missing?
Well, the changes to the central office were somewhat late in the game.
Yeah.
After they started using it, they realized that, what
Right, like the
spec
urban.
was not exactly what they needed. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And we always knew that the asphalt escalation would be there. The urban farming pad was also late to the game, but that was because of a big grant you got, right, Jeremy? And so in order to access that grant, we had to create the physical presence. So I think, and the fencing at the irrigation skid was something that was suggested by the landscape architect, was it?
Yes. Yeah, after it was installed, I'm looking at everything.
Prevent damage to the irrigation equipment.
So, in answer to your question, Mayor, I think that these were appropriate things. Some of them came up fairly late after we started occupying the building, and one of them was just because we got fortunate and got a grant to, which is part of one of your newest programs, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was a grant to outfit our 19th program. So this is it's a tractor trailer body that's outfitted for hydroponic farming. And we needed a place to put it. It needs mechanicals, needs water, electricity, and things like that. So we needed a place to put it and have it not look like a dumpster.
And I think one of the triumphs of this building is the fact that we've gone now from, 12 to 19 CTE programs in a relatively short period of time. That's, I think that's a testimony to everything that everybody around this table has done.
The Adams fit the purpose of what contingency is for. Basically, that's why we carry the contingencies in different categories like the asphalt, because we know that there's a possibility we'd spend that money for that increase, and then if there's extra left over at the end, that gets turned over to the owner, whatever you should want.
Well, it'll reduce our borrowing.
Yeah, more extra is good. More extra is good. My question is, the urban farming, if that wasn't anticipated in the original project, is that fair?
Yes.
But yet construction funds can be used for that even though it wasn't? It's not technically a contingency in that it's a completely, I would think, unforeseen expense related to,
Contingency has two aspects. One is to cure unforeseen issues that come up during construction, and the second is for adds to the program as you go through designing the building. So as long as we don't exceed 15%, then we're good to go under the state bidding laws. Is that accurate, Anjanette?
I believe that's true. And also, any of these extras are categorically ineligible for any kind of reimbursement participation by the MSBA.
Right, but
Right.
we knew that. I mean, we were maxed out at their number anyway.
Maxed out easily.
Right.
All right, anybody else have anything on the contingency transfers? All right, Anjanette, I guess you're up.
Well, I think we need a motion.
Need to approve?
Oh, forgive me, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve them.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Jackie.
Mayor, for clarity, was that GCT 087090091 as well as the one that was introduced by Consigli for 089, which was not
It
on
was all
the?
four, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mason.
But before we go to Anjanette, was there anything else on the change log, Steve, that you needed to bring up? Or is
No,
that it?
there's one that we're tracking, it's just the miscellaneous support costs associated with some of these requests that aren't quantifiable at this time, that we're kind of just tracking on T and M, like safety or temp this or different things like that. We're tracking that separately, and the plan was just to kind of present that all at once, rather than piecemeal it.
When do you think you guys, not that we want you to, but when do you think you guys will be gone?
Well, we need, like Ally mentioned, good weather to finish the exterior punch list, and that needs probably some time to germinate, and then approval from KBA. I would guess that probably the summer.
I'd say the majority of the work late April, and then recently we might have to do some repairs to the art room floors, which we would be doing during the summer with no students occupying the space. But that would be kind of a couple days, wouldn't be much.
We're anticipating a final review and approval of the fields. Everything goes well, will be the end of May.
We get 5 lawn mowings, is that it?
At least 5 mowings and certain, I mean, with sod, it's a little different. The criteria is a little different, but yes, 5 mowings and germination over 99%.
But Ally, that does raise something I don't think you mentioned, which was that there is a flooring problem in the art room.
Yeah, so we had the manufacturer's rep, KBA, Consigli, all together last week to look at some seam issues that they're having in the art room, specifically with the LVT flooring. The manufacturer determined that it's a chemical weld, not a heat weld, I believe.
Yes.
That the chemical weld didn't adhere or it wasn't in place, just in those 2 rooms. So they're gonna have to repair those over the summer. And then in the CIS room, there's just one square that we're having an adhesion problem with. So they're just gonna have to replace that square. That won't take much time, but they think it's just, there's might be an issue with the prep just in that one section. So they're gonna take a look at that.
So the wrap party will be the 4th of July, or?
It's a good date, sure. We'll aim for that.
Is the art room a full replacement, or is it a repair?
The reps, they still have to come out to do their final kind of decision on whether they need to replace the whole floor or just the areas where the seams are. And so if it needs to be the whole floor, it will be the whole floor.
Did you say, is that floor different than other flooring? Did I miss that part?
It's the same in the science labs, I believe, and maybe the classrooms, but definitely the science labs. But there weren't any issues with the science labs. They did take a look last week when they were with the reps.
It's sheet goods, so you roll the sheet goods and the seam gets sealed between the 2 sheets as they butt together. And this one didn't get the seam right, whereas in the science rooms they did, and the seam just didn't hold, and so it's collecting dirt and debris and making it difficult to keep clean.
So the installer had a bad day in the art room?
Well, a different install than did the science labs, obviously.
Yeah.
And those are the only 2 areas that have that roll-out flooring? Very good. All right, Jeanette, I think we're back at you.
So, for the month of January, we had a few invoices. We had the Skanska invoice, and that was for $36,935, and that was for services through the month of January. Castle Blues submitted $48,483. That's for their closeout activities for the month of January as well. Consigli's requisition included contract work with a value of $299,802. There were 2 change orders billed against billed within the January invoice as well, one of which was for $10,578.21, and then they also issued the credit change order for $154,747. Also included in their requisition was 2 retainage reductions. One was to United Steel down to 0, so we're no longer holding any retainage for them. That was for $1,025.60. And then we also, Consigli's fee and their general conditions and stuff, we've been holding retainage on that as well. So we've reduced that down, so we've released to Consigli for their retainage, for their services, $639,284.99. So the total amount of the invoices for the month of January is $881,966.52. It bills us out to 99% complete. And we do have a very small invoice coming in for work that was performed for the month of February that I just got the invoices sent over this morning. I haven't gone through them yet. I think it's just 3 subs. So we'll continue to bill. It'll be minimal. But we're on budget. We will, after all of these changes are priced and completed, Corey and I will take a look at the budget and see where we're at, and we are still anticipating some project savings. But I'm not comfortable at this time giving you a value, only because we just want to make sure that we're capturing everything that needs to be included as part of the project.
But you're confident we're still to the good?
Super confident, yes.
And you don't anticipate any significant unforeseen expenses, or are you still,
At this point, I'm gonna say,
because it's pretty late in the
right,
game?
it's pretty late in the game. There's, you can never say never, but I think we feel pretty confident, but
We've touched everything we had to.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would hope at this
Right.
point.
And then the next step, obviously, is just close out with the MSBA, and then
Not
once.
digging any more holes in the ground, we're not
Nope.
knocking
No.
down
Right.
any
No.
walls.
Exactly.
No. And then the next step would be close out. And so once Consigli issues their final payment, we can start the process of closing out, we have to, there's a, we have to review all the subs performances for DCAM, so there's that requirement that's got to be done. I have everything ready to go and prepped, we're just waiting for that final invoice. So, once we get there, then, hopefully we'll be, wrapped up, closed out by the end of this year. Unless you want us to build another school, and then we'll stay. So it's up to you.
For the moment. All right, anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns about the bills or payments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I forgot one.
Opposed? Oh,
I forgot one. There was one for Pro AV as well, and that was actually, I didn't have it on here, but that was actually for some programming that they did here in this room for AACS, and that was for $1,630.
that was in the 881 number that we just,
Was
That was in the total number, correct, yes. I just forgot to mention it as part of the summary there. And I did confirm with Jim that the work was done and satisfactory, and we're good to go.
And then one point of clarity, the 412 number that you see in the retainage reduction under Consigli, that's actually the retainage balance after their retainage reduction. So as Anjanette said, the retainage reduction was the 641,108. So that's the net balance of their retainage after this billing.
all right. I'm good, just for the record, the vote included everything listed in the document, even if Anjanette explained it after the vote.
Total.
Anybody have any issue with that? Okay, very good. All right, any parting thoughts before we adjourn?
After we adjourn, would the members of the MBC stay for 1 minute? I have a couple of things Mason and I wanted to give you a preview on. But other than that, looks like the next meeting is March 20.
Yeah, we'll meet on the 20th. I entertain a motion to adjourn at 5:55.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye, opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.